Hello everybody and welcome to another Project Life Process video. It's week 15 and this video is a little bit longer than usual because this layout ends up a little bit more detailed than what I normally do, but I actually really like the result, so I hope you'll stick with me through it. I'm starting off by picking out my papers, and I knew I wanted to use a bunch of these papers from the Spice Market collection, which is an old line from Basic Gray. That's one of my very, very favorites. I've already made a mini album that I'll share at some point with a lot of the papers, so I just have kind of leftover pieces here and there that I wanted to use. So I ended up picking this really pretty red floral paper, and to go with that, this tile paper. Kind of looks like maybe a floor or something like that. And there's a lot of navy in this collection as well. So when picking colors to go with it, I knew I wanted to do more than just the red and the yellow that was in these particular papers. So I thought the navy would go nicely. And then I'm just attaching this flare that's from Kelly Purkey's old kit. And then next I'm working on this card that I've done this a couple times. Every time I have a new block in school or when I'm finishing up a block, I like to document what it is I'm studying. So I'm taking some navy ink and writing endocrine with some Kelly Purkey Dalton stamps here, and it just hardly fit, but it actually turned out really well considering, and I'm really glad I don't have to redo that photo again. And then here, I was just short on things I had done this week, but this one random night I was studying and I was so tired, and I listened to a lot of kind of like classical music and just music without words when I'm studying, and I was listening to the theme from On the Waterfront, and randomly I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this movie because I just don't feel like studying anymore. And I watched it and I really loved it, so I decided to include a picture from it here. It's a really classic movie, and I was kind of glad I saw it because it's kind of like I think it's an essential movie you kind of have to see, especially if you're American, I guess. And it really reminded me a lot of the TV show The Wire. I think it was definitely inspired, or The Wire was definitely inspired by that, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And then here, again, since I didn't have a lot going on this week, I took a picture of an album from Kendrick Lamar that came out this week, and it was kind of a big deal, and I feel like everyone was listening to it and figuring out what they thought of it and stuff. So I decided to write a little bit about that here, and I wanted to do some sort of little embellishment to tie it in, so I brought in this sticker that is from Kelly Purkey's most recent kit. And yeah, the colors went perfectly. The 2 doesn't really mean anything, but I don't really care. And then here, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I've kind of, I don't know, lately I haven't felt like stamping in the middle of the photos, even though I think that would be a great photo to do that with. So I ended up adding a couple labels and a camera, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but that got cut out. And then here I'm taking another piece of paper from the Spice Market line, and I'm just attaching that to the side of this photo. I love the way this looks, and just to embellish that, I'm going to add a couple staples, and then I'm going to attach a paper clip to the side too. And it's kind of simple, but I really like how that turned out as well. And then normally you see me do a little 3x4 card every week with the week number, but since last week had these 3 horizontal stack photos, I always could have attached the page protectors together and just used the regular size that I use, but I decided to kind of try something new and use a 4x6 for my title card. So in order to kind of fill up some of the space, I used this little Polaroid photo and layered that with some more papers. And then here, I'm a little behind, but I just decided to go back and attach a little tab that said that was my last block, and I'm really excited about that. So it was nice to write that down. And then back to the title card, I'm just going to stamp the week number as usual. I use the Kelly Purkey January numbers kit. I don't even think this is available anymore, which is kind of like, I don't know, that doesn't really make sense to me because it's like not like a seasonal thing. I think there is another set of numbers that looks really similar, but it's solid instead of outlined, and I think you can get that one instead. And then I used the same week stamp I always use. That's from Hero Arts. And then I'm going to attach that. I wanted to offset it a little bit just to kind of keep the card balanced, and then I attached it with a really cute thin washi tape. That's from Amy Tangerine's Oh Happy Lifeline, and I love that line. I really need to use some more of this stuff because I have a couple of different papers and stuff from it. And then to finish this off, I'm using my Tim Holtz word stickers to just make a phrase on this kind of title card, and that's about it. I'm just going to embellishment with a couple of tiny attacher staples. Then for my last card, since it has such a stark white background, I decided to just stamp my label directly on the photo, and that turned out really well, especially because my photo paper works so nicely with these Hero Arts inks. And then I just added a little staple to embellish, and then I decided I'm going to steal the flare from the other side of the layout just to add it on there. And there's another flare that will also work on that card. And then I decide that I'm also going to add some journaling about something else going on this week on this card, and I kind of messed with it a couple times, but at the end of the video I had left it with this white paper, but instead I actually ended up writing directly on the paper because it just it's one of those things. I don't know if other people do this too. Well, I know they do, where you just kind of mess with one thing over and over and you just can't get it right, and then there's usually one thing or two things on a layout like that for me, and this week it was definitely this dumb card with the journaling on it. But anyway, I don't even hate it the way it looks right now, but I do end up changing it. And that is the end of this layout. I was not expecting to like it at all because I just didn't have very many interesting photos this week, but somehow all the colors, like, I don't know, they just kind of work together. I'm kind of shocked about it, but anyway, this is the final thing. I hope you got a couple ideas from this video and that you enjoyed it, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for week 16.